What's up, everyone? Welcome back once again to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and today is July 14th, 2025. And as promised yesterday, we have a tag team live stream here with my buddy AJ from Ball Don't Lie. I'm sure you guys have seen him in our collabs, but how you doing, man?
What's up, Codes? How are you, man?
Doing good, and excited to get you on this channel a bit since we've done a lot of stuff on your channel and with Rambo, and so it's good to and I'm really excited to see what he has, because what I did yesterday, I don't know if most of you guys probably did watch my video yesterday, but I did a whole decode and kind of left the door open for this love theme, and I know AJ, this is his theme, so I'm really excited to see what we can get into today. And yeah, I'm gonna let AJ. He's got a lot of slides to share, so we'll give like another minute and kind of do the opening. AJ, we'll say hi to a few people here. Hold on. Hello, Coffee Girl. Can you guys hear us? First of all, I didn't even do a sound check. Can you guys hear me and AJ?
I can hear you on my end, Cody. You're all good.
Okay. Great. So hello to Coffee Girl, who's always here. Much love. And Andrew Carpenter. Hello. And Jose Hernandez, Maggie McCombs. Meatballs in the chat. We got Meatball in the chat. And Maka. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in today. And we'll give like one more minute, and then I think we'll let AJ explain, how he came to this. And again, guys, make sure you guys go back and watch my video from yesterday, because it's gonna have some ties into this. And don't forget to go subscribe to AJ's channel. He's almost at 1,000 subs. Let's see if we can get him to 1,000 subs during the live stream. I know I got enough people in here usually to send over who haven't subscribed. So maybe I think you're at like 950 something last time I checked. So
yeah, something like that. And that's a huge thank you to you, Cody. Honestly, between you and Rambo, you guys have been fantastic. Hopefully you saw an uptick as well when we were on with Donut just last week, focusing on your presentation about Steve Kerr and the floods.
I think I got about 200 subs from that stream.
Awesome.
And I think you got probably about like 150, right? Or so 100 something.
Something like that. That's why I'm always so thankful for these collabs. Donut obviously has a huge channel, and he's a great guy. So
yeah, we love Donut, and we look forward to collaborating with him again. That was really fun. And if you guys missed our stream with us and Donut and Rambo and Tommy Truthful, man, that was just fun to get all these people together. And we're going to be doing another stream next week, right? So
actually this week.
Oh yeah, it is this week, because it's already this week already.
yeah. This coming Thursday, everybody, keep an eye out. I talked to Ani Osaru, the Spiritual Shade Room. Got him in a group text with Rambo. Ani's already told me of a couple things he would like to cover on Thursday this week. So it'll be Thursday the 17th. It'll be you, me, Ani, and Rambo, and perhaps a few other special guests. We will see. It's all about, everybody's availability. So excited about that. Keep an eye out for that link. And Cody, of course, I'll let you know once that's up and running. But I think Ani will be the one hosting it on his page. But he does have that ability as well to connect our channels together as we stream. So that'll be fun.
Oh, he has that option. Okay, cool.
Yep, he does. So that'll be good. Keep an eye out, you guys. And just thank you to everybody that's in here. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe any way we can. It's all about growing, and it's all about leaning into love, right?
Right. And just real quick, let me share my screen real fast with Ani Asar's channel so people can see him. So this is where we're going to be. Or we're not going to be on his channel. Are we going to be on your channel, on his channel?
No. So Ani will be hosting, but he has the capability to allow for us to connect our channels to his live stream.
Sweet.
So in other words, it will show up on my page and on your page as long as we click the link to connect our channels.
Okay. Yep. Got it. I forgot to do that with Donuts, so I won't make that mistake again. But yeah, so this is Ani Asaru. He's been on my channel many times, been very encouraging, and I can't wait to speak with him and collab with him. So this is the channel, guys. Go subscribe to this channel. and we'll see. We'll be here on Thursday. So yeah, we look forward to that.
Well, and then you'll see us again tomorrow night with Rambo for our weekly live stream.
Yeah,
So.
this is a busy week. So yeah, I forgot about that. Tomorrow is the Rambo on AJ's channel, Ball Don't Lie. We got the Rambo, me and AJ, and then on Thursday we got that Ani Asaro. So busy week this week, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy everything. So
busy week. We're working hard for you guys. We really appreciate all the love and support, and hopefully you guys appreciate the content. So.
And please make sure you guys go hit the like buttons on all the videos, my videos, AJ's videos, Ani's videos, Donut's video, everybody's. Please hit the likes and help the info get out to more people. So anyway, we got 50 in the chat so far. And so let's go ahead and get into it, I guess, man.
Let's do it. So I'll kick things off, and Cody, please feel free to chime in at any point with any other additions. I do have a lot of slides prepared for everybody. However, a lot of them are transitional slides, so it's just going to kind of build on the same piece. That said, my name is AJ, Ball Don't Lie. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. I've been kind of in the decoding game for about as long as you have, Cody. I just spent most of my time in Instagram for a long time before I got locked out of my Instagram, and it kind of forced my hand into the YouTube space. And ever since, I don't know what happened. It really all started with the Cooper DeJean pick six during this year's Super Bowl. I did a live stream the night before the Super Bowl, and I pointed out Cooper DeJean because his birthday was on the date of the Super Bowl. It was his 22nd birthday. Eagles equals 22. But he's a defensive player. So, unless you get an interception, that's really the only chance you have a opportunity to actually score. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened right before the halftime show. It blew my mind. I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. Most people were all over Saquon Barkley because it was his birthday as well. He averages 2 touchdowns a game, and he didn't even get in, but Cooper did. And I've told you a lot, Cody, about just how surreal it was because my dog's name is Cooper. And then during that time, you and I got connected through Sean, and I consider Sean like a brother, like I consider you like a brother. And sure enough, my dog's brother's name is Cody. So it was
I just wanted to thank Sean for what he did to bridge the gap between you and me, and then eventually bridge the gap with all this. I mean,
absolutely.
Ever since we got together, me and you, I mean, and I have to thank you for all your bridging that you've done, but really since Sean brought us together, it's been a lot of collaborations in this community, a lot of good things going, and it's continuing to build. So
yep.
Do not forget about our good friend Sean Desad over at Widow's Son, who hasn't been active lately, but we still love him to death. And I know that he, whenever he's ready to come back and start sharing in the streams again, I'm sure he'll be here, and we can't wait for him. So
absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. I love Sean, and I love you like a brother, honestly. And of course, Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love, right? So it all really started there with Cooper DeJean's pick six. And then once I started my YouTube channel, looking at college basketball, coming from, Arizona being my alma mater, the University of Arizona, but then learning that Arizona is founded on Valentine's Day, etc. You guys can just go to my page and see pretty much every other video is about love. But this particular presentation is called Love, Reign Over Me. And this is going to be centered around a lot of things, but I would say the baseline is going to be the movie called Reign Over Me, which came out in 2007, starring Adam Sandler, who I can't get away from either since I wrote that book, The Hand, and Don Cheadle. And sure enough, this movie, the theme song of the movie is a song by The Who that came out in 79, I believe it was, called Love, Reign O'er Me. So to really kick things off, the first thing I was thinking about, Cody, was I believe the first collab you and I did just one-on-one when I asked you to join for one of my last presentations was the Adam Sandler's stand-up bit called Love You back in 2024. And we please make sure to go back and watch that because, there's not enough time in the day to hit everything. But what I'm going to be really pointing out to everybody today is how much this movie coincides with practically every stream I've done with Cody, and that includes streams that we've done on our weekly lives with Rambo, these one-on-ones, etc. But also with Cody's fantastic video yesterday, really breaking down iPet Goat. But part of this stream, a big ending, the latter half of that stream, we started talking about the letter V and how Adam Sandler, with this Love You Stand Up, which I thought was terrible. Regardless, we're now living in the time of Pope Leo. And I was telling Cody, what are the odds that Adam Sandler was also in an animated movie called Leo? He literally played a lizard. It's a whole other thing. Named Leo, right? But we were just saying, hey, isn't that interesting that Leo is only one letter off from love? And with that, keeping it moving, you know, a big part, if you guys aren't aware of this, and Cody, I know you said you didn't have a chance to watch the movie, but we're going to get into it. But I'll tell you right now, this movie is centered around 9/11. And sure enough, one of the opening scenes of iPet Goat, right, shows what really essentially resembles the Twin Towers. You know, Tower 1 had the smoke higher up versus Tower 2, etc. But these two pillars come crumbling down as the Jesus figure, right, is coming out of what seems to be, I don't know, a base of Antarctica or something. I don't know. It's always up to interpretation. But so I thought that was interesting. You know, there was clearly a lot of themes in iPet Goat, but in line with the movie Reign Over Me related to 9/11, we're going to start there. Another thing that Cody touched on big time, and fantastic job, by the way. I never thought that the WWE would be so interconnected until I really started leaning into your work. And you did touch on this briefly. I mean, Jon Moxley, he was the one that got hung, right, by the hangman?
Yep.
I mean, his birthday is December 7th. And for those that aren't aware, December 7th is the same day as the bomb of Pearl Harbor. And 9/11, which Reign Over Me is centered around, became known as the new Pearl Harbor. So the connections just keep on coming.
And you know, as I mentioned yesterday in the stream, he's from Ohio, which is known as the heart of it all. And he's from Cincy, where close to where I'm from. But he's born in 85. And I mentioned this before a bit on other streams, but everything connects to the year 1985 because that was the year the Back to the Future came out. And you would not believe how many of the most famous star wrestlers today are born in 1985. And he's one of the last ones born in that year because he's born in the very end of the year. But there's Roman Reigns, who used to be a partner with him, is also born in 1985. In fact, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and this guy used to be part of the Shield when they came in, and they ended up becoming the three main stars. And then he left the company and went to the other company. But long story short, the year 1985 it goes back to our Back to the Future stuff, right? And I made a whole list of all the wrestlers born in 1985, and I'm mapping out how they might be connected to that movie. But it's clear. Cody Rhodes was born. He's another one born in 1985. He was born only 3 days after, or 3 days before Back to the Future released. So he's the closest to the movie. But yeah, I mean, and this guy, as you guys, I showed last night, he was the guy that got hung by the hangman. And on an iPad Goat on the chalkboard, there is the hearts, and Ohio is the heart of it all. So, and he's kind of the heart of the Death Riders. He's the leader of the group right now called the Death Riders. And it's kind of interesting to think about how that might connect, but go ahead, man, keep going.
Yeah, no, and don't forget right now he's age 39, and that's a huge connection with New York. You know, New York equals 39, NYC 39, New York NY equals 39. Big number with New York. But yeah, to Cody, to your main point, Ohio, the heart of it all, with what we're talking about here with John, is it Moxley? Yeah. So his birthday is the same day as the attack on Pearl Harbor. Well, what was Pearl Harbor? It was essentially an air raid, and it was a bombing, right? So going back to love, I'm sure you guys have heard the phrase love bombing. Don't really need to get into the details of it, other than that it's essentially when two people are forming a relationship and one side of the aisle is just being very overwhelming with their love and affection, which usually doesn't bode over too well. But back to the baseline of this presentation, the movie Reign Over Me. So to give anybody a backstory here, like I mentioned, starring Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle, the film follows the story of former college roommates. So Don and Adam Sandler's characters, Alan and Charlie, were former college roommates and old friends, the latter of whom, meaning Adam Sandler's character, Charlie, he's struggling with depression after the death of his wife and his daughters. Think about the daughters that, you know, perished in last week's flooding stories in Texas. But he lost his entire family, essentially, in the 9/11 attacks. And obviously, it did a serious number on him and got into a very depressed mind state. And like I said earlier about kind of where this love thing started for me was during this year's Super Bowl when Cooper DeJean had that pick six. Don't forget that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. They are known as the city of brotherly love. Now, where this hit home to me, that I want to shout out one of my sincere followers, Ricky. She's the one that found this for me. I wasn't looking for it, but she sent it to me and I nearly fell out of my chair. This Super Bowl took place in Caesars Superdome, and I was aware of, you know, I've been aware that my birthday is March 15th. So I'm born on the Ides of March, the stabbing of Julius Caesar. Shout out to Rambo for clarifying that with me. But the reason why this gets really eerie for me specifically in my own life is since March 15th is my birthday, Ricky sent me a text and told me that, did you know that your 9th birthday was exactly 911 days before 9/11? And when 9/11 happened, you were 11. Think about that. I was 9. My 9th birthday was 911 days before 9/11. And at that time, I was 11. So it's like a bookend alignment perfectly, you know, with this tragic event, you know?
It's funny too, because I was 11.
Well, yeah. I mean, you and I are what, like 3 months apart?
Yeah. How many days is it? I forgot now. Is it,
maybe we'll do a different live and we'll just live decode ourselves.
Yeah, but we were both 11. And what's interesting is, I mean, I don't know how many days my 9th birthday was before 9/11. I should check that. But I find it interesting that, you know, we were both born in 90 and then we were both 11 on 9/11. And now here we are talking about this. And also what also blew me away about my age on 9/11, I was 586 months exactly, which is my area code that I lived in. So that was interesting.
Well, and you're from Ohio, right? You're from the heart of it all.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I mean is like, there was some interesting, and my grandmother was born on 9/11. That was her birthday. My great grandmother, actually. So I have some interesting connections with 9/11. But yeah, yours is pretty insane, man, with what you just shared there. That's crazy.
I mean, how much tighter does it get than that? You know what I mean? Crazy.
That's what I mean. Not much tighter. I don't think you can get much tighter than that, especially with organic connection like that. Airtight,
pun intended.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was just a little tidbit about myself. Freaking mind blowing. So segueing a little bit, don't forget, Adam Sandler's character Charlie, he's in devastation because he lost his little ones, right? That was the phrase we were using on Donuts Live. But this is the first screenshot of one of my very earliest videos I did, talking about, and it was titled Love is MIA. And I was talking about the death of Mia Love this year, which took place on the same day when Caleb Love of Arizona defeated the Ducks. And we'll get more into that in a minute. But March 23rd was the date of Mia Love's death and Jason Kidd's birthday. And don't forget, Jason Kidd played for Dallas, won a championship for the Dallas Mavericks back in 2013. But Dallas is right next to Dallas Love Field. Cody, the moment I started decoding, right, one of the first things I think we typically do is look at, what date were these movies released, or these TV shows, or these songs, whatever it is. What are the odds of this movie released on the same dates that we've already been talking about? I didn't know this, So as soon as I saw March 23rd, I was like, oh my God, that's Jason Kidd's birthday. That's the same date as Mia Love's death this year. Right?
Yeah, that's that made me know exactly that this is, was probably connected to what just happened in Texas, considering, again, if you guys watched my video, the kid, Jason Kidd was a big part of my Texas flood video. And yeah, he has the same birthday as this Love Reign Over Me release date. And this was the United States release date. I believe the other release date was on 3/22, right?
Yeah, I'm about to get into that. But once again, just keep in mind the themes about love and the tragedy story behind Reign Over Me, 9/11, people losing their family members. But another big part of it was he lost his daughters. And a lot of people lost their daughters last week during those Texas floods. It was a girls' camp, right? And, this is just a screenshot of a point in the movie, just for those that haven't seen it or don't plan to. Charlie is very quiet, very reserved. Alan, Don Cheadle's character really tries to get him help and takes him to a shrink, etc. And he really doesn't talk during those sessions. But one time he finally comes out into the lobby where Don Cheadle's character is, and he finally breaks down and just kind of starts just really opening his heart out, if you will, about about his family and the life he had before this happened. And yeah, to your point, Cody, look at this. We're talking about March 23rd, right? 3/23. Well, yeah. What are the odds that the release date of this movie is exactly 3 months and 23 days after Don Cheadle's birthday, who is the co-star, if you will, of this film? So right off the bat, I was like, wow, okay. Just keep adding on to those March 23rd alignments. But if you add the end date, actually, sorry, before I do that, what happened once the Twin Towers fell, right? Then became 2 towers, became 0, became 1, right? They rebuilt the World Trade Center and named it the One World Trade Center. Well, keep me honest here, Cody, because I know Derek has kind of changed the names of the ciphers every so often, but capitals added is the Francis Bacon cipher, right? Where it just takes into account first A through Z lowercase and then A through Z uppercase is essentially how that's calculated.
The capitals added is actually not supposed to be called the Francis Bacon. It was originally. From what I've heard, and I think I heard Rambo say this as well, the reason I think Derek changed it is because he originally on the old calculator had it labeled as Francis Bacon, but he changed it because that was not the right name for it. Because we found out, well, other people started researching, Rambo included, that the Francis Bacon ciphers are the older ciphers. They take into account the I and the J being the same value, because in Old English, the I and the J, the J didn't exist. So the I and the J had the same value in that cipher, and so does the U and the V. Funny, we're talking about the V, because in that old Francis Bacon language, or the Old English, U and the V would have been interchangeable. So they have the same value. So U and V and I and J. So that's why you have a different cipher. The capitals added is just like the cipher that you would see on the chalkboard as a kid, where you have the A, the capital A, the little
right,
A.
Right.
You walk into the classroom. That's the capital cipher.
Got it.
It's not Francis Bacon. And I think that's why he changed it, because technically I don't think that's what it should be called. Because now we have the actual Francis Bacon ciphers, which are all about the I, J, U, and V, how they're the same. So that's just the overview. That's all I know about it. I'm sure there's like a deeper meaning behind these capitals added. I could ask Derek too about it, but yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate that clarification. You just mentioning the U and the V, we're going to get on that in a little bit, but it makes me think of like UV rays, ultraviolet, ultraviolet rays, and Rambo has done some phenomenal work on, you know, how over the last couple of years, talking about Super Bowls, a lot of people are trying to predict the next matchup of the Super Bowl just based off of the colors of the logo. And last year, not this year's Super Bowl, but the year before, Rambo did a phenomenal job talking about how there's a reason why they're putting attention to the public about the colors, but the real symbolism there, if you will, is about the color spectrum. So make sure to go back and check that stuff out.
Yeah, and just one quick point on this capitals added cipher with what you have there. This is the best time to use the capital cipher, guys, because when you make sure when you use this cipher, for people that want to use it, that you're using the right capitalizations, because this is the point of it. The point of this cipher is to take into consideration the actual name and the actual correct capitalization of the phrase. In this case, he did it right. He used the capital O, capital W, capital T, capital C, and all those three, and that adds up to 323. Now, if he would have changed the last letter, like the C, and made it a small case and then got the 323, I would have put less weight on it, because, okay, well, you made small case, but the way it would be written is not quite like that. So you could say that you could experiment with things like that, but when we're keeping it tight with all the ciphers we can use, especially the capital cipher is mainly used when, in my opinion, when you're doing the correct capitalizations. And for instance, Trump, if you capitalize the full name Trump, this is one that Zach and all them have talked about before, but capitalize Trump like they write it on his billboards and stuff with all capitals, that equals 218, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. But that's just another example where those are the kind of things you want to take into consideration. So I'm just
absolutely. I mean, you know, for the same question of why is the alphabet in the order that it is, you could also ask, why do we even have capital letters? Right? Like, I mean, there's a reason behind it.
Why is the United States, where the government works, called the capital? I mean, think about it.
Yep.
And
exactly.
I've seen Derek use this, where he did a decode where he was talking about the Washington Capitals, and he used the capital cipher, and it was a perfect connection, man. Like almost like we were supposed to decode the capitals using the capital cipher, because I don't remember what stream that was, but I remember when he did that, I was like, wow, that was like perfect, because he used the capital cipher in the decode with the capitals team, and it actually like fit perfectly. Like I don't even remember what it was now, but this is just an example of one of these ways we can use these ciphers. And Derek uses these ciphers more than anyone, the capital ciphers. He uses them all the time. So, but yeah,
I just noticed. Sorry, I just noticed too. Notice that the One World Trade Center. Notice who it was designed by. I just saw this.
Childs, huh?
There you go. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's a good catch. Childs.
Yeah, I literally just saw that as we're kind of opening this up. So, you know,
yeah, that's
more to be said about that. I don't know when he was born or whatever, but wow.
Sarah Smith, yeah, you of course you can recommend anything you want in the channel, as long as it's not mean or nasty. I know you're not mean and nasty anyway, Sarah. So yeah, I mean, she says she wants to recommend us the channel, so of course, no problem.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm all about collaborating and learning from other people. I mean, there's so much, like, I wouldn't be where I'm at least in my journey and my content, without people like you and Sean and Rambo and a million more, you know? So always appreciative to connect more and more. So keeping it going. Like I said, I do have a lot of slides, but we'll try to make this, you know, as airtight as possible. If you add the end date, right, with this 323 connection with Don Cheadle, it's 3 months and 24 days. Well, I've talked about 324 in some of my other love videos as well, because in the Sumerian cipher, love equals 324. So perfect when you measure it both directions, you know, with and without the end date. So wanted to throw that in there. And Cody, you got ahead of me on it. But yeah, if you guys look at when it was actually released in Australia, it was the day before it was released in the United States. And here we are, right back to the 322. Released on March 22nd. Cody's done a lot of work on George Bush, a member of Skull and Bones, the sitting president during 9/11. But keeping on topic with the themes of love, Donut gave me a shout out a little bit on the live the other day of the stream we did the day prior, talking about this, and Rambo went on about how the skull and bones represents 2 of the 3 in the Trinity of thoughts, action, and emotion. But if you look at the eyes of the skull and bones logo, I don't know about you, call it a stretch. I don't really care. I see 2 hearts. It's like 2 out of the 3 holes in the face, if you will. I see an upside heart, like a right side up heart, and then I see an upside down heart.
I definitely see it on an upside down one on the nose.
Yeah. The other one, that left side, a little bit, but you kind of squint your eyes, you can see it.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about, but the one in the nose is absolutely clear.
Definitely. And so now segueing a little bit to the letter V, right? Cody and I in our video, I Love You, about Adam Sandler's I Love You stand up from last year, which I don't recommend you guys watch. You guys can just watch my video and I'll break it down for you. But the letter V can be associated with love in several ways, including its visual similarity to a heart shape. I hadn't really thought about that. The V is a heart shape if you think about it. And its use in romantic imagery, and its connection to positive words often used to describe love and relationships. The letter V is also prominently featured in the word love itself, where it can be stylized as a heart shape. And this is just another screenshot from our stream with Donut last week, where Cody, I'm really glad I was able to at least watch that movie before we went on to really catch that 322 connection, because I know that Tommy and Donut really got a kick out of that one, because that's just wild. Yeah. Especially since that cameraman was covering the 3 and he's walking with the family as they walk away. And that's when you see the 322. And for all the other 322s, please make sure to go back and watch that stream, and watch Cody's stream right prior to that about all the 322s and the 223s. So keeping it moving, we're going to go back to kind of where this started in our stream about Leo and love. Don't forget, we are in the time now of Pope Leo. And Leo is just 1 letter off from love, excluding the letter V. So this is just another screenshot from mine and Cody's stream called I Love You, where we talked about this exact thing. And where this all ties back up to today's presentation and this particular movie, Love, Reign Over Me, notice that the song by The Who, the full title is Love, Reign O'er Me. It intentionally takes out that letter V. But the opening of the title has the letter V in it, right? And the title of the movie is Reign Over Me. But once again, the theme song is Love, Reign O'er Me. So this is just another example of how the letter V is being added or subtracted in different ways for different reasons. And shout out to you, Cody. You've done a phenomenal work on like why the letter V and how it relates to the god Venus, and how Venus is the god of love, of course, but it's also the god of war, right? And once again, this movie, Reign Over Me, is all about 9/11, in which war popped off, didn't it? I feel like we're still in it, but just that interesting. And I did a code on UFC 316, and that was all connected. There was a no love mix. He lost. But point being is that I titled that video, you guys can check it out, called All is Fair in Love and War. So I feel like that quote alone is literally a depiction of Venus, no?
Yeah, and
feels that way, at least.
Yeah, and this ties in with, you're always going to see a lot of the symbolism, I notice, with love and war, and especially what just happened last night, guys. I was just doing a video. I'm going to release a separate video on this because it kind of doesn't go with this video. But what happened last night in the WWE with this woman who won the championship? She's connected to Venus and Mars, love and war. And yeah, it's just mind blowing how that manifested. Also, another interesting thing is I didn't know Don Cheadle's birthday was 11/29. Trinity or Naomi, who won yesterday, her birthday is just one day after his on November 30th. And that's George W. Bush Sr.'s birthday. Or no, sorry. George W. Bush Sr.'s death date is the day that she's born. So
I thought George Bush Sr. died on 11/30. Wasn't that Paul Walker's death?
Yeah, and that's the birthday of this Naomi who won last night. Yeah, it's 11/30.
Okay.
So she's born one day after Cheadle. That's pretty close. That means if you do the date measurements, it might actually come out to be around the same as the measurements that you just played. But either way, the V. The one thing I remembered with this V that really got me, and when I really started thinking about it, can I take the screen back real fast?
Yeah, of course, of course. I just want to say, I know Desktop Geek keeps saying Venus is not a war deity, Mars is the god of war. I get it, but you can do some research and you'll see that they also align Venus to the god of war. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just pointing out what I'm finding.
Hold on a second here. Can you guys see my screen?
Oh, it's coming. There we go.
All right, so this kind of connects with the children thing, and it connects with the love thing, and it connects with the V. Because if you look in the back there, so this is when Obama went to the classroom, and I think this is the iPad Goat connection, because remember, in iPad Goat, George Bush is sitting in the classroom like he was on 9/11, and he turns into Obama in the iPad Goat. Well, Obama had this famous thing now in 2023 where he went to a classroom dressed as Santa and he was reading Santa's Gotta Go. Well, on the chalkboard or on the board behind, first of all, you can see the alphabet, right? But on the board behind there, I don't know how well you guys can see this. Can you see it, AJ?
It's a little small. Is there a way you could like open up one of the photos that you're referencing, make it a little bigger?
Hold on a second.
You could do like I think if you right click or at the top, you could hit view and zoom in.
Hold on a second.
There we go.
I'm gonna zoom in on it too. Hold on. So you can see Obama with all the kids, and the letter of the day was all about V. You see it?
Hold on. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yep. That's on the right side. I can see of the screen.
Yeah, it says all about V. And then it says, when Vincent visits Vicky, the vulture wears his very best. It's some sort of sentence there, but either way, this letter was the letter they wanted to highlight in this day.
Wow.
For a reason.
Wow.
And it might be, as Joseph has showed many times on his channel about Obama is hugely tied to the number 222. And in a way, the letter V is all about twos because letter V is the 22nd letter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the master number, of course, as well. But yeah, I mean, this is when I really started thinking more about the V, because it just seemed interesting that this is the letter they wanted to highlight that day. And again, this connects to the children. It connects to the classroom, the iPad Goat, everything that we kind of touched on.
Would you mind zooming in on the left side of Obama?
Left side. Let's see.
Yeah, because we were looking at the right, seeing those V's. That's a phenomenal find. Just want to see if we can get zoom any farther in. And
I don't think I can get any closer.
Because it looks a little blurry, but like those two boxes stacked on top of each other right next to Obama, it looks like a 9 and 11. That's probably not what it is, but that's why I wanted to zoom in. You see what I'm talking about?
On his left.
No, on our left.
Oh, on our left.
Yeah.
Where it says BB.
Is that what it? Man, I need some. Yeah. Okay, so BB, but then on the right side of those squares, right underneath it, where it says B, what is it? What does that say? What is that? It looks like a 9 to me.
It says be kind, share with others, and then there's two kids standing there.
No, I meant on the right one, the right square. What is that?
Be a caring friend, I think.
Okay, I think it says share and then something underneath it. Anyways, yeah, no, that's just my skeptical eyes, always looking around trying to find things. But okay, yeah, no, great addition there on the V's there, because I know you were touching on that as well in last night's video about iPad Go. That ties in perfectly with this.
Another thing to mention is, well, he said I'm skinny Santa when he showed up there. But look at this. He then held up a copy of the children's book Santa's Gotta Go, written by Derek Barnes and illustrated by Courtney Love It.
Not to be confused with Courtney Love.
The book, yeah, that's there's Courtney Love, that's a whole different person, but the book is literally illustrated.
Courtney Love It. Oh my God! Did you just find that, or did you have?
I just found that. I just found it.
Come on.
Courtney Love It. Wow. I mean, see, guys, just on the fly finding stuff is just the best, because then you guys can see how our days usually work when we find stuff.
Seriously, all it takes is one person in a collaboration to share something, and then 2 eyes are better than 1, 4 eyes are better than 2. You know what I mean? So,
well,
great addition.
Courtney Love It. I could have sworn. Hold on. Her gematria is love, or wait, reign over me, I think. No, is it love? Hold on. That's interesting. Wait, oh, bro. 1086. Bro.
You were just talking to me about that.
Bro, that's the same cipher I was just telling you about. That equals water.
You just told me about that right before we jumped on.
Bro. Really? I'm blown away now. And look at this. Courtney Love It equals love reign over me in 2 ciphers, reversed.
Bruh.
And equals Barack Hussein Obama, because Barack Hussein Obama equals 163. And 323. I forgot he equaled 323.
Dude, okay. I didn't get that one.
Look at this.
We just talked about that.
Love reign over me without the V equals 163, like Barack Hussein Obama, and the girl who illustrated the book, Courtney Love It, 163.
That's insane.
And just to excuse the other things I have written here, those might actually connect too. But the point here is these 3 things that we just were looking at these.
Yeah.
And what's even more mind blowing is I had no idea that this song,
the theme song, if you will, of Love Reign Over Me. Yeah.
So see how that equals 1086? Mm-hmm. Well, this is a water thing. And I was just talking about how it's all about water. Before we got on the stream, I was talking about this.
It was literally the main thing you pointed out to me before we jumped on.
And Federal Reserve equals 1086 in this cipher, and the Federal Reserve's responsible for the currency and all that stuff. So this is just mind blowing, because I told you that 9/11 will turn 1086 prime days old on July 20th, just a few days from now.
Yep, and you told me that just a few minutes ago.
Yep.
Wow.
So, wow. I mean, just yeah, and then this connects with everything I want to talk about with what happened with this Naomi girl from yesterday too, honestly. But I won't get into that right now. So, but yeah, guys, you're seeing on the fly, we're just breaking codes here. So I hope you guys are enjoying this on the fly stuff.
So keeping it moving. This was in the same stream that we did, I Love You, the one about Adam Sandler's stand-up last year called I Love You. Shout out to Back Once Again. Back Once Again, I think you just hit me up on Discord. Thank you for sharing your decode. That was fantastic. But this next section is dedicated to you, because you mentioned in that stream that Adam Sandler also did a Netflix film called Spaceman, where his character embarks on a research mission to Venus. Now, if you did a quick search on that, it's not going to say Venus, but they're talking about essentially his efforts to get to the kind of the tail end of the solar system. But Venus is very much right there. But for one final 3-2-2 piece, I haven't had a chance yet to watch this movie. I watched the trailer and whatnot, but What are the odds that this movie was released on February 20th, 2024, 20/2, Skull and Bones 202? It was released in the US on February 23rd, 223, Skull and Crossbones 223. And the movie is exactly an hour and 49 minutes, Skull and Bones, 149 in the simplest cipher, which is also Pope Leo's birthday, right? September 14th. So I had to throw that in there. But if you even just watch the trailer, like what I'm gathering from this is that he leaves his family, or he leaves his wife who's pregnant, to go on this space venture, and he starts hallucinating. He starts losing his mind, if you will, and all of a sudden he comes across a big creepy spider that's like in his vessel. Hence why the spider is right here on the front cover of the movie cover. And this is where we're going to reel things right back into Ohio, because this is something I came across on Instagram. It was some comedian who's really into baseball, and he was talking about how much he loves the Cleveland Indians. And then he told a backstory about how the Indians used to be called the Spiders. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that the Indians were called the Spiders at all. That was interesting because I had no idea. So I thought they were. What was their other name? I think they had like another name besides the Indian. Well, now they're called the Guardians, but yeah, that's crazy.
Well, what's funny is the Guardians always reminds me of the space movie called Guardians in the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just remember I was asking you, I was like, so growing up, were you a Reds fan or an Indians fan? You said you were always an Indians fan, right?
Well, I said I was a Rockies fan, but
but I'm saying for Ohio.
But if I was to choose in the state of Ohio where I'm from, I would choose Cleveland. That's where my dad's from, the area he's from. So I guess I would choose that. But I grew up closer to Cincy though. So.
Oh, okay. Anyways, point being, the Cleveland Spiders was the name of the Ohio team prior to the Indians. And like Cody has touched on multiple times, and like we've touched on our streams with Rambo, Ohio is also known as the heart of it all. So we're once again back into the love themes. This is another screenshot from, I want to say this is the first or second stream that you did with me and Rambo Codes, where I pointed out that there's also a song that I remember very well, 2004 by Hawthorne Heights, called Ohio is for Lovers. And so you were pointing out on your last video about the Texas Death WWE stuff about Virginia is for lovers, but Ohio has another layer of love just in this song alone as well. Kind of a one-hit wonder band, if you ask me. I don't think they were around for very long. But once again, just going back to stuff that we had talked about a while ago before I even dived into this last presentation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like the Ohio thing, it's somewhat close to my heart. But the thing with yesterday, was Virginia. The guy from Virginia, was hanging the guy from Ohio. Virginia's for lovers, and then there's this Ohio is for lovers song. So. And I just noticed that the guy who did the hanging, I just did the gematria on the heart of it all, which is the Ohio slogan. And it's wild because the guy who did the hanging, Hangman Adam Page, his real name is Stephen Blake Woltz. He is a almost perfect 3 out of 4 cipher match to the heart of it all.
Oh.
And he was hanging the guy from the heart of it all. And he's from the state where they say Virginia is for lovers. And think about Virginia. Rambo's talked about this as well. Virginia, Virgin Mary, connected also next to Maryland, Virgin Mary right there.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to this feminine theme that I think is a huge thing because that's the Venus theme too. So, yeah. Anyway, that's interesting.
So tying things back into the movie Reign Over Me, I showed a screenshot earlier when Adam Sandler's character comes out of his therapist session and he doesn't say anything really. And then he comes and sits in the lobby sitting next to Don Cheadle's character, Alan. and he starts talking about his family. He starts talking about what he had before he lost it. And sure enough, part of his little spiel, he said that she had a dog, meaning, we had a dog. His daughter had a dog, Spider. Who names their dog Spider? But I thought that was super interesting. But it made sense with a lot of these water themes with this particular movie. I mean, the movie alone has rain in it, right? But it makes me think about the itsy bitsy spider that went up the water spout, right? And that's essentially what this story is about. It's about, him getting washed down the drain with the tragedy and then working his way back up again, to get his life back. But going back to your hangman stuff, just from your video last night, the hangman, the spider. What does Spider-Man do? He hangs upside down pretty often, doesn't he?
Yeah, and whenever you see Spider-Man, I don't know if I can find a picture of it, but whenever you see Spider-Man hanging upside down, let me see if I can find that on my end, and then I'll bring it up if I find it. Spider-Man hanging with head light.
Well, of course, he kisses Mary Jane upside down, right?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to see if I can find I know I've seen it before. Yeah, let's see. Because as Rambo mentions many times, that when the Hangman tarot card is flipped upside down, he's hanging down and he has a like a light going around his head, like it's like a radiant light, and you notice in some of these pictures, because Spider-Man has the Spidey sense, what they call it,
right?
And you'll see the same type of thing. This is the same type of thing you see on the chalkboard in iPad Goat.
Yep.
With the person with the light around their head, So this is in my opinion.
Yeah, there you go. That goes right in line with what you were pointing out last night.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Because oftentimes you'll see that to indicate that he has his Spidey sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you'll see a lot of different pictures with similar things.
That's amazing. I didn't see those types of images. I mean, I typed upside down, and sure enough, of course, you're going to get a ton of Spider-Man upside down kind of stuff. But yeah, the whole Spidey sense, the rays that shoot up behind his head when he has a Spidey sense, that's amazing.
Right.
And staying right in line with that, these are just screenshots from Cody's video yesterday. If you guys haven't seen it, talking about the Hanged Man, right? Right next to love, which is the reverse, evil, right? You also touched on at least 2 of the 3 hearts. I don't know if you missed this, but there was a 3rd heart right down here. Did you see that?
I knew that. Yeah, I knew there was a heart there too. I meant to mention that. I knew it was there, but the actual heart is right there. It's funny though that the brain is next to it.
Yep.
And the brain is getting struck by that lightning bolt, which again, that's Barak. Barak in the Hebrew Strongs means lightning, and then this is what happens. He turns into Barak.
Right.
But yeah, and like I said yesterday, the evil tin, right? If you spell that word, if you sound that word out, that's written there, it's evoltin, and that kind of sounds like volt too, like electricity. So there's a huge electricity thing, and when you're in love, it feels like you have an electricity between you with talking about romantic love, I guess.
Yeah.
But a lot of this you have to also distinguish between the types of love too, because the love we're really trying to get at with these streams, and I think AJ would agree, is the agape love, which is love for humanity, not romantic love, which is just really the need to fulfill the body, which is part of it, but there's a bigger connection here with what we're talking about.
Right.
There's a place for all kinds of love, but this love, the reason we share the connections we do on these streams is for the love of agape love, the love of humanity, to help humanity grow and to, that kind of love. I mean,
yeah, I feel that we do this out of love to get people to see beyond the way that we've all been conditioned growing up in the classroom, right?
right. And that's, that's why they call God's love the agape love, which I think is important to distinguish. Just, I mean, just to make sure people don't think we're just talking always about, romantic love, which again is important and is part of it, but
100%. We're actually going to get into that other type of love in a little bit. But you also pointed out the 3 missing letters, right? Was IOU, and that blew my mind, especially with your alignments here of president, evolution, evoluton, and Trump, etc. But here's another screenshot from that video I referenced earlier. All is fair in love and war. This was a solo presentation I did where I pointed out that exact same thing. This was back in June about IOU, and that all kind of stemmed back to Ohio, right, etc. But just think about IOU. When I think of that now, I almost interpret it as I love you, because O represents the ball, the circle. In tennis, 0 is love, right? And, to owe somebody something, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Technically, if you love somebody with that agape love, nobody owes you anything, right? But in the more selfish form of love, to do someone a favor in exchange for something else, it's kind of more of an artificial love. But I just wanted to include this screenshot in here and just to show people how kind of the wavelength I've been on and Cody's been on. I mean, it's coming to a head right here. Like, we were always on the same wavelength, and now we're seeing it come to a head. You know what I mean? And I just pointed out the whole idea of the phrase live in love. Well, live and love are only 1 letter off as well. I and O. I and O.
And don't forget that evil,
right?
Evil is the backwards of live too. Evil.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly.
And so, and if you run the live in reverse, you get evil. And if you rub the love in reverse, you get evol.
Mm-hmm.
So how interesting that, you get like the kind of evol and then evil. So it's just interesting how that, again, we know this language it's a spell book game, and that's why we say we spell words, right? So
words cast spells, right?
Yeah, and just to talk to Joni a minute in the chat, she's been saying that she doesn't think the numbers she thinks they're for the evil. Well, Joni, I appreciate you. I know you've been in here before many times, and I understand what you mean. Like sometimes we go with too many numbers, but what me and AJ especially, we like to just talk about the symbolism. And what are numbers anyways? They're just symbols. Numbers are just different forms of symbols, and numbers can look like things. That's why the letter or the number 1 looks like the letter I, because it's connected with that's why I is the 9th letter, which is like the completion. So there's a lot of different things you could say, but I appreciate you being in here, Joni, and I understand where you would think that it was given to us by the evil people, but ultimately we can use what you would say is given to us by evil people to bring truth and light into bring God's light and love into the world. And that's the point. That's what we do on this channel. And the symbols, like if you look at this decode, AJ has been doing mainly just symbols and symbolism. So I don't want this channel to be only about numbers, really. I think that's kind of the perception, but I think it's good to have streams like this where we focus more on symbolism and deeper things, and the numbers just add on to that, right? So,
well, Cody, like you and I talked about, shout out to Rambo. He was the first person to really teach me that when you can understand the symbolism, right? Well, what's the quote he always says? A picture's worth 1,000 words, but a symbol is worth 1,000 images, something like that. Yeah. It just goes to show how deep this really goes. It's not just letters and numbers, you guys. But when you are able to see the symbolic nature of things, you know that the numbers are always going to follow. They always do.
It's like with my decode last night. My decode last night was just about the clear symbolism between this wrestling match and the iPad Goat chalkboard. There wasn't even any numbers needed to be involved. I think the house burning and the hangman on the board and the hearts there, it all connected to that guy from last night. I didn't even need numbers. But then at the end of the stream, I showed how the guy who hung actually equaled the word on the chalkboard, you know, so it just adds enough. It's almost perfection when you can first find the connection through just the word or the name of somebody or the symbol of somebody, and then you make that connection. That's how I normally do it anyways. A lot of times I find something that's not even number related, and then the numbers just fall in line and I share the numbers. That's all I do. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing when you can work it all together. And AJ is very good at that as well. He does an amazing job of the symbolism and then just adding the numbers on top. So
I appreciate that, Codes. Yeah, because another thing you and I talked about in that last stream, I love you, about Adam Sandler's stand-up, I love you, was the letter V and the Mighty Ducks. Their whole thing about the flying V, right? It's called the flying V. I mean, fly eagles fly, ducks fly together, right? So the whole flying connections are still there. The symbolism of flying. We're in the year of plane crashes. I think there was another one just today in Europe somewhere. It's hard to keep up with all of it at this point, but staying on topic, this is just an image of, you know, this was like a reunion thing where all the actors and actresses from this movie are in their flying V formation. Another screenshot from one of my earlier videos pointing out, going back to the Super Bowl, who performed at the halftime show, Kendrick Lamar. But I was really tying it back into Mia Love. Just notice at the top, this was when the Oregon Ducks lost to Arizona, home of the state founded on Valentine's Day on March 23rd. Caleb Love is the main face of the team this particular year. But what are the odds that Kendrick Lamar's last name is Duckworth, right? And Cody, you even brought it up in our streams on your standalone and in our weekly with Rambo. Not too long ago, we had the death of a Duck Dynasty member who passed as well, and it makes you think of Trump once again, Donald Duck and Duck Hunt. And then wasn't Hunt, Texas actually impacted recently, like with the floods? So
that was I think part of the area that near that all girls school. There was a Hunt area. I think it was either a little town called Hunt or it's a part of a county. I can't remember, but
yeah. So we have that. I mean, another screenshot. This is one I did with Sean, called Love and Spades. And I was just pointing out how my wife and I have been watching a show, Love on the Spectrum. These are about people that are on that autism spectrum trying to find love. And sure enough, one of the guys trying to find love is talking about the ducks and goes on a whole spiel about how these ducks are a symbol of love and relationships. And don't forget too, I mean, Kendrick Lamar, right? He was shouting out or calling out Drake, AKA the certified lover boy, right? Who has every once in a while, you'll see the heart carved into his hairline or whatever. But anyways, so circling back to the song Love, Rain, or Me by The Who, Cody, you and I talked about how notice that the B side of the album is called Water. But mainly just notice the release dates. It was released on October 27th, which is the exact same day as the founding date of Philadelphia, who just won the Super Bowl, the city of brotherly love. And on top of that, sorry, go ahead.
Look at that. The B side is Water. That makes even more sense now.
How so?
Because remember, Water equals the title of the other song. They equal 1080. They both equal 1086.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The title of the song matches
the B-side title.
B-side.
So
there you go. Yep.
So again, I'll show that back out in a minute when you're finished. But again, guys, that's crazy considering I just found that out, and now it makes sense why they put that there. Wow. Huh.
So another thing for those that haven't seen the movie, since Adam Sandler's character Charlie is very depressed, he pretty much rides around on his moped all day, in New York City, and then he comes home and he'll either play music or he will play a video game called Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, really? I know that game.
You do? Okay. I was going to ask you because these types of games have never really been my vibe. I'm more of an N64 kind of guy. But what are the odds? So that this game was created in Japan by Sony, and look at the release date, October 27th.
Well, that connects in a lot of different ways because, first of all, you have the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Statue of Liberty is connected because the Colossus of Rhodes was the old world Statue of Liberty, right? It was the big statue of it's basically the Statue of Liberty of the old world. It was on the island of Rhodes, right? It was called the Colossus of Rhodes. Well, the Statue of Liberty is the modern day Colossus of Rhodes, and I even showed in remember my video about the Uncle Howdy, a guy who's born on the day of the third Back to the Future, and how he has the
the opening scene.
Well, yeah, he's connected to that, but the original thing I was talking about with him was that his group was giving these cryptic posts, and they referenced the Colossus, the poem that's written inside of the Statue of Liberty is called what is it called? The modern something, the Colossus. I can't think of it now, but so yeah, but considering this released on Philadelphia, because October 27th is Philadelphia Day, well, again, where did Cody Rhodes, who is clearly connected to the Colossus of Rhodes, where did he dresses like a Statue of Liberty, where did he dress like the Skull and Bone Statue of Liberty and win his first title beating the Roman Empire, Roman Reigns? That was in Philadelphia. And what is his daughter's name? His daughter's name is Liberty. And again, it's you cannot tell me that they don't know, because again, he had his daughter like 3 years before he ended up winning that title in Philadelphia. You're just telling me it just happens to be that his daughter just happened to be named Liberty, and then he comes and has his huge moment in the city where it's known for liberty, right? The Liberty Bell. And so yeah, the fact that this is the same date, October 27th, is huge, because it goes back to Philadelphia, it goes back to the love and the liberty, right? So I just thought I'd add that because that's something I've talked about many times with my wrestling decodes.
Oh, I think that's a fantastic addition for sure. Another screenshot. This is one of the first videos I ever did on YouTube called Love is the Answer. And I kind of gave a background story about why my name is Ball Don't Lie. That is a phrase used in the basketball world about how the basketball gods don't lie when a ref, calls a foul when it wasn't a foul and they go to the free throw line and miss. A lot of times players will say, hey, the ball don't lie, meaning it wasn't a foul, right? But think about Allen Iverson. He is also known as the answer. So that's why I titled that video, Love is the Answer. But his other nickname is AI, right? So a lot of people our age growing up that were basketball fans, that screenshot down there at the bottom left, what my colleagues imagine when they hear about AI, they think of ChatGPT, right? Well, when I hear AI, I think of Allen Iverson. But just recently, and I just thought it was hilarious. I did this Google search, and it was by a YouTube video with like 2+ million subs, posted by August the Duck. You notice that? August the Duck posts this video, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, and there's a lot more stories out there like this, but a man with wife and kids marries an AI chatbot. So people are like marrying AI, and they are falling in love with AI nowadays, right? That's essentially what's happening. So you have AI from the city of Philadelphia. You see what I'm saying? Talk about manifesting decades ago and seeing it come to a head.
Yeah, this is just crazy. Reminds me of some of those movies, those futuristic movies where they have like robot lovers and stuff. And
yeah,
there's
even a Black Mirror episode or two that are very similar to that.
Yeah, to me, it's just some sort of like mental illness, but I'll leave it at that. But
it's sad more than anything. I mean, there can be good things about AI, but the way that humanity, I feel, is treating it and relying on it as much as they are, just my opinion, I don't think it's for the better, especially if a man with wife and kids are marrying an AI chatbot. So keeping it moving, like I said earlier, this movie clearly has a lot of water themes. Once again, the movie is called Rain, even though it's not RAIN, but Rain Over Me. So when Charlie finally, so at the beginning of the movie, Alan, right, Don Cheadle's character, he actually sees Charlie in passing, like in the streets, and he tries to flag him down, but he just ignores him. And then eventually he agrees to kind of meet up with him. And one of the first things he asks him is, name the Great Lakes. Lake, water, right? And then I asked you this earlier, Cody, and you nailed it. But Don Cheadle's character couldn't name the Great Lakes. And then Charlie says Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. Well, if you guys look close enough, look at the capital letters of each of the names of these lakes, right? Holmes. I never really knew this until I went back and rewatched this. But tying back to the love themes, why does this matter? Let's do a pop quiz for the chat. Let's do a quick pop quiz for the chat. How would this be connected to love, you guys? Knowing that the Great Lakes, the first letters spell homes. We'll give you guys 10 seconds. Pop quiz. Brownie points. There we go. There we go. I know we got a sharp group with us. Home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. So I thought that connection was very interesting. Sorry.
Did you see this comment though? This blew my mind, man.
What? No.
Look, I'll bring it up. Just let me bring it up.
Yeah, please.
Look at this.
Let's take a pause here. Shout out former PvP.
Hold on. Whoops. I'm doing the wrong screen, guys. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. What's going on now? I screwed something up. Let me zoom in for you guys. Can you guys still hear me and see me?
I can hear you, brother.
So the word for love in English is AI in Japanese.
My God. Fome PvP, thank you so much for adding that in here. That's incredible. Come on, guys. Wow.
I mean, did we not talk about just AI? We even mentioned Japanese stuff.
Well, you know what's funny is Allen Iverson too. If you just look up his tattoos, I think on his neck he had some either Chinese or Japanese. You know that maybe that. Hold on, let's just do that. Let's check that out really quick. Can you just type in Allen Iverson neck tattoo?
Yeah, let me.
Because let's see if it's actually that. Maybe that's because I never took the time to actually look into that. Allen Iverson neck tattoo.
You know, Cody Rhodes has a famous neck tattoo as well.
Because it's like a.
Okay, let's see if we can just. See if we can get a response. What is the meaning of Allen Iverson neck tattoo? Oh, it's a Chinese character, Zong, which translates to loyalty.
Okay.
Well, if you love somebody, you're loyal.
There you go. Yeah, no, I was just curious. Now, as soon as I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. Was that a Japanese AI? That would have made a lot of sense. But okay. Thank you so much, Fome PvP. Not sure how to pronounce that, but that's That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that blew my mind, man. And look at all the mind blowns in the chat. Let's go through them. We got Coffee Girl, she's mind blown. We got Maggie, Sojourn, Michael. All of them thought it was pretty mind blowing. Yeah, that was a great addition by Form EPVP. How do you say? Sorry, I can't say your name, but yeah, great addition. Great addition.
That's fantastic. So we're gonna keep it moving here. Let's see. We're coming towards the end here. We're getting close. So another part of the movie, after that last scene where he quizzes him on the Great Lakes and whatever, he starts warming back up to his old college roommate, Alan. And he goes to a local dive bar to watch him play drums for some band that he plays in. And they start reminiscing on the old college days. And part of that scene, he says, "But you always wanted to jam to The River." So Don Cheadle's character also plays music, and apparently they used to jam back in the college days. But he references Bruce Springsteen's The River. And I just thought it was interesting that when I looked it up on Wikipedia, the genre is heartland rock.
Wow.
I don't even know what that really means.
I've never heard of heartland rock either. I've never heard of that. I'm a musician, and I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So Bruce Springsteen.
What does that even mean? I guess Bruce Springsteen is heartland rock. I guess I learned something new today with that.
There you go. So of course, heartland rock falls in line with The River, which they used to jam to back in their college days. And I mean, just speaking about The River, right? What were we just last talking about? Right? The movie The Flood, Who Will Save Our Little Ones, you know, where essentially the kids are hanging by trees. Talk about hangman symbolism, looking to be saved off of the river. But, you know, there's, of course, another scene where they're just walking out looking at the Hudson River. And we know about the story of the helicopter crash into the Hudson River just this year. So more river themes. This is later in the movie. And I just wanted to share a screenshot here of the movie that Cody, you and I have been talking about with Rambo and Donut for the past week. Just with the river themes, but tying back into love as always. And not only that, Cody, I know you didn't get a chance to see the whole movie, but did you catch that 9/11 connection in that movie, The Flood?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So they pan this public school 3 different times in the movie. The first time they show it pretty clear as day. It was established in 1911. But then the other 2 times, if you notice on the bottom screenshot, there's actually a second pole that like falls right in between. And the best one that I saw was a night scene where they pan, and you'll notice that, so there's like one like flagpole or telephone pole, something like that. And just notice that there's 2 pillars rested right in between 9/11. You see that?
Yeah. Wild.
So once again, just rolling right back up to the movie Reign Over Me about someone's mourning the death of their family from 9/11. So I'm going to pause there before we get into another little section of this, but I will say we are getting close to the end here. I know it looks like a lot of slides, but we're going to get through it rather quickly. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Codes, or should we keep moving?
Yeah, we can keep going. I just wanted to highlight the comment from our good friend Casey Jones Astrology. He said the 5th card in Texas Hold'em is called the River. So there's that. Oh,
okay. Well, that's going to be perfect for the very last slide. That's going to be perfect.
And also just think about the chain of events the last week. We had the floods in Texas, and then we had the All In event in Texas, the wrestling event. And All In is a reference to playing cards. So I think that's a good addition.
It's also a reference to like marriage, right? Like when you marry somebody, you're all in with them.
You know? Yeah, that's true.
Something to think about. But yeah, Cody, so you, I got a kick out of the bit that you did about the phallus that was on the chalkboard as well, and you were saying whoever could decode this gets the gets the champion of that decode. Well, maybe I'll take crown of that. So once again, love, you guys. What is making love about? Right? When you make love.
Look at Obama's face here, man.
Yeah.
He looks like he's enjoying that a bit too much.
Well, so one thing, Cody,
is that Big Mike's? Is that Big Mike's?
That
phallus on the wall.
I was going to throw that joke in there. Obama calling his wife Michael. But I purposely refrained from pointing out Alan's last name. So Don Cheadle's character Alan, his last name is Johnson.
Really?
Yeah. Dr. Alan Johnson. For those of you guys that don't know, Johnson is another term for an eggplant.
Yeah.
So I had to put that in there. And then on top of that, so that this scene, all right, how am I going to say this appropriately? So Dr. Alan Johnson, he's a dentist, and so is Charlie for that matter. They were in dentist school together, but Charlie is not doing dentistry anymore because he's in a depressive state. Now, Alan Johnson, he comes across a patient who is just infatuated with him and wants to do things to him. let's just put it that way. And it gets to a point where, and he's a married man, right? So he's very uncomfortable, and it kind of causes the whole scene, forcing her out, saying like, we will not service her, etc. And Charlie's character, he finds out about it, right? Alan tells him and whatnot. And when he comes to visit Charlie, he's in his little music room here playing drums. And he goes, hey, because he was so amazed by how beautiful the woman was. Charlie was. And he goes, hey, that crazy girl, the one who wants your penis, how's she doing? So to me that answers your question. Like, why was that there? Well, what is making love? Especially when we're talking about the letter V. See what I'm saying? Do I need to go any deeper than that?
No.
Right? I think I'm getting my point across. But segueing into this scene, right? He comes in and Don Cheadle's like, shut up, man, shut up. And this is a point in time when they start jamming, right? Kind of back like in the college days. And what do they do at the very end? They say, Philadelphia, Philadelphia, good night, Philly. Like they were pretending like they were playing in front of Philly.
Of course.
Even though they're in New York. You know what I mean? But this just rolls right back up to all the Philly stuff that we've already talked about.
Wow.
So, if anything, I think that adds at least another layer of clarity on why you saw what you saw on the chalkboard. But to take it one step further, who is Don Cheadle's wife? Who plays Don Cheadle's wife? She look familiar?
Yeah, she looks familiar, but who is that? Is that I know this person. I just don't know. I can't think of her name right now.
That is Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh, okay. Yep. I get it now.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whose actual husband is from Philadelphia, whose Eagles just won the Super Bowl, and right after he gets a street named after him.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't recognize her because I'm used to seeing her now with shorter hair. At least that's.
Well, I was going to say she's bald now. I think. Yeah. Or at least she was for a while. But I had to throw that in there. Of all people, right, playing Don Cheadle's character, just so happens to be Will Smith's wife. Now, this is just a screenshot showing another example of the water symbolism where Alan is explaining to his wife how Charlie is, and he says that he is just a sea of sadness. So you have that. Now, I want to go back to the I Pet Goat thing for a second. And I'm pretty sure I referenced this actually on the Donut Live the other day, just about my own birthday, right? I touched on that at the very beginning of this presentation, March 15th, right? The Ides of March. And what I mentioned is for me, just what's so mind-blowing is that I'm a Pisces, okay? I'm a Pisces, the fish. And the reason that matters is because in the Bible, Jesus has a miracle catch of 153 fish. Why does that matter? Because March 15th, once again, my birthday is written 15/3 in the majority of the world. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I found that alignment, that just blew my mind. But to add another personal layer to this is me being very vulnerable. This video is still out there, but I'll tell you right now, Cody, I mean, if people want to watch it, they can. The link, I can send you the link. But I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school with Clay Thompson, like I've talked about several times, but I played Jesus in a high school skit. This was my senior year. This was actually pretty viral back in the day during in the Christian/Catholic community. There's a song by Lifehouse called Everything. And it just tells a story of essentially Jesus, being with each of us when we're born, showing us how to move and move our legs, how to move our arms, walking the person around, showing them the beauty of life, right? And then during that skit, and as the song is playing, that person in the black gets pulled away from Jesus by all different types of temptations, right? Drugs, alcohol, money, romance, sex, and then it eventually gets to a point where it leads to depression. And it's actually really dark. Like, as I look back, I'm like, man, I can't believe that, all our teachers and whatnot were down to, let us do this. But it is a beautiful skit. I'll say, the only reason I have my head shaved here is because I was on the volleyball team and we were forced to do that.
Really?
So it was the first bald Jesus. But anyway, so yeah, at the very end of the skit, right? Like the character, you'll notice she's wearing white now, right? So during the time the black shirt gets ripped off, and then essentially the Jesus character comes back in and protects that person from all those temptations that were bringing them down, and then kind of flies them away. But yeah, it just goes back to the I Pet Goat skit. Me being the Pisces, my birthday, the 153 fish in the miracle catch with Jesus. And then I'm like, oh my God. And I played Jesus in a skit back in the day.
And that the theory is that in the astrology part, that the age of Pisces began around the time of Jesus, right?
No.
You don't know that? Oh, I gotta show you this.
Please do. And hey, just a disclaimer. I am not calling myself Jesus.
Yeah, we know.
Okay? All right.
There might be some people, some trolls that might say, oh, he's in there saying he's Jesus. No, he just played Jesus in a play, guys.
Yeah. And I'm just aligning it to, granted, this was what? Let's see. Let me do the math. 18 plus years ago, before I kind of woke up into a new way of looking at things. But then it just goes to show how perfectly intertwined we all are in our own ways. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and like this just adds another layer to it, because the whole age of Pisces, it was the age that we were supposedly in. Now people say we're entering into the age of Aquarius, right? But which is the age of technology and AI and technological advancement. But the age of Pisces was starting around the time of Jesus' ministry.
Wow.
Which gives more meaning to the fish. It says here, astrologically, the age of Pisces is a period of roughly 2,000 years, believed to have begun around the time of Jesus' birth. So that's why if you go forward 2,000 years, here we are in the 2000s, a lot of people think we've moved into the age of Pisces. We're just talking astrology terms here. We're not talking about biblically, like what the Bible, like what the churches would say. But from the astrology standpoint, the age of Pisces which might give more meaning to the whole the fish catch, right? And considering that there's the Jesus fish, right? The Ithacus, or however you say that word. And then don't forget the Catholic, the priests, they wear something that looks like a Dagon, Catholic priest hat.
Well, and speaking of hats, I don't know if you guys can see, but I wore this intentionally. It looks like a Marlins hat, but it says "Fish fear me."
Oh, that's perfect because like these hats look like fish, like a fish,
There you go. I didn't even know you were going to bring that up, but yeah, I totally forgot about that too. Actually, yeah, it looks exactly like a fish.
Yeah. So this is probably another symbol of the age of Pisces, but again, the 2000s is when all the technology started really coming into play, and that's supposedly the time of, Aquarius, right? And last year we had Pluto moving into Aquarius, or 2 years ago we had Pluto moving into Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. So that kind of aligns with going into the AI and the technology, because that's the age that we're moving into, which that scene in iPad Go could be referring to, could be a bit of an ode to that, because he's going. Notice that he's on a boat. He's going with the fish in his boat. He's going towards the
right, and what's on his chest, right? The burning heart. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No problem. But like, he's going towards like a new dawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where the boat's going. He's going to a new age. That's the sun is rising. It's a new era, a new dawn, and so there's a lot of symbolism there, I think, that could have been placed in that to represent moving from Pisces to Aquarius. Just like symbolically, right? So
definitely. We're getting close, but to segue back into the movie, check this out. Throughout the movie, Don Cheadle's character, he continues to come in and check on Charlie. And just for another little backstory, right before his family perished, they were working on a lot of renovations in the house. And Charlie, Adam Sandler's character, is very particular about having shoes off in the house. And so Don Cheadle's character comes in and he goes, hey, buddy, take the shoes off. I told you. Right? And we already kind of touched on this, but just to show that, all of the signs of the zodiac do align with different parts of the body, if you guys aren't aware of that. But right now I'm just focused on the fish, obviously, because I am a Pisces, the fish. And I just thought that just once again, another water connection with all of this. Like, why are they really emphasizing that he wants him to take his shoes off all the time? Pretty straightforward if you ask me when you understand this alignment. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's interesting too, because that's the bottom, right? And Aquarius is you're moving up to the ankles.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's circulation. The calves and the ankles is the next.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to think about that, but I just mentioned how, moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, and you have the ankles, how that might connect. I don't know. I have to think more about that, but
no, for sure. That is a good observation, that Aquarius is right next to Pisces. So yeah, definitely. And of course, Leo is a sign too. And Leo, notice that Leo is at the heart.
Yep.
You notice that?
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, so we touched on the Pisces connections. Lastly, in closing, just another thing I thought was so interesting in watching the movie was there's a scene, this was during the morning of Don Cheadle's father passes away in the movie. I'm sorry if I'm giving too much away if you guys plan on watching it, but either way, I still recommend you do watch it because it is a pretty good movie. But sure enough, they're playing cards or they're doing like magic tricks. And then my heart dropped, pun intended, when I saw this. because during the magic trick, the magician, the mystic, hands the girl a card and says, all right, does everybody see what this card is? And she's holding up a spade, the upside down heart. And I did an entire live stream with, once again, shout out Widow Shun. Sean, I hope you're doing well, brother. We literally did a whole stream called Love and Spades. And look how long it was, bro. 156, huh?
Yeah.
156, 9/11, the 156 prime. But
yeah.
A lot of this was just talking about how cards back in the day was they would give every passenger these decks of cards for free as entertainment, right? Way before movies were being shown, way before iPads and phones and all that kind of stuff. So sure enough, just yet another live stream, which I've already referenced to, by the way, but to see so many different bits I've already done tied directly into this movie, it's just kind of eerie, you know? And of course, the spade is the upside down heart, right? And in closing, this is my last slide. A few people in the chat already pointed out about the number 5. I think Casey Jones mentioned something about the 5th dimension. But anyways, you and I were talking about what is it about this V missing in alignment with Pope Leo and Adam Sandler playing Leo and, you know, love reign over me. Why is the V out of it? Blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe this adds a little more clarity to it, because when you just look at obviously not just the years, but just the days apart, their birthdays are 5 days apart. And the letter V in the reverse cipher is equals 5.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that's a coincidence. I mean, and then if you take XIV, right, the Roman numerals of Pope Leo the 14th, 1 + 4 is 5. Well, XIV, simplest cipher, is 55. See what I'm saying?
Well, and you know, so the word love, right? And Venus, Venus has about approximately a 225 day year. So there's 225 days on Earth is one Venus year. And the word love, the last 2 letters are V and E, which is 225. If you break those 2 letters down, 225. And the letter V, as you're showing here, can be the 22nd letter or the 5th letter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 different ways you can get to this 225 with love or with the letter V itself. Because again, V is either the 22nd letter, or it can break down in reverse to the 5. So that's, I think, a huge part of this, because again, Venus, the goddess of love, has that 225 day period. So something with the 225, and we are in the year 225, right? So this is even an even bigger year for the love theme because of that, just simply because of that.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, right? Like, Cody, you and I aren't doing these things to be like, we got it all figured out, right? You know, some people in the chats here and there would be like, oh, okay, what's the point of connecting all this stuff? It's just to show how intertwined, like how perfect a web we live in. But we're never here to act like as if, you know, we have all the answers.
Well, this channel for me my channel is mainly about sharing and learning together. And so again, I think the reason that people want to come here is they want to learn things. They want to share community with people. And what better way to share community than to learn? I mean, most humanity, they just go out and party together and get absolutely wasted, and they don't even remember what they did the next day. But like, what's more fun than learning with your fellow brothers and sisters and growing spiritually and mentally, physically, even like just learning things? I mean, if you're not here on Earth to grow and learn something, then I mean, I don't know what the point is. So this is really what I like to do. I like to learn. I like to spend all day learning. It seems like an addiction to people outside, but I like to spend my days learning things. Like,
well, and that's that's exactly what Rambo says. I mean, when I first met him, you know, and the way that he often introduces himself is that I'm dedicating my time to knowing, what is this place? Where are we? Why are we here? You know? And you know, for me, I always like to take it not a step further, but just the way I take it is you kind of learn, like, once you start thinking for yourself way after you graduate school and all that stuff, and then you start finding things that are undeniable and you share it with your fellow man, people just laugh at it. And then you really realize how conditioned that whole system is, because once you get that diploma, right, once you're out in the real world and you've gone through the whole schooling system, you're also conditioned to think that I know everything there is to know. And if I don't know it, all I got to do is just quickly do a Google search and then I'll know, right? And sure, we do Google searches, but we're also basing it off of what they tell us as a whole. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of pointing out, like, this is what they're telling us, but then we're showing the back end about why they're telling us this is the date, this is the time, these are the names of the people, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had for today's presentation. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I was getting kind of concerned about that, because as I kept watching more and more, I was just like, man, I want to get this in here too. But I really do appreciate you allowing me your platform and the time today and the opportunity to share more findings, especially with how much it connects with just stuff that you and I either separately or together have been talking about.
I mean, the way I see it is, this is all of, I mean, we share this, all of our channels we share, you know, the way we've been working together. And I think, I mean, I'm just glad to have you on here, and also to be able to come on your channel and to go on Jonah's channel and to hopefully have more collabs coming in the future, you know, like, but I'm very happy to be connected with you, and also to have a group of people that sit and watch us blabber on for a whole hour, like they do in 2 hours, even almost now. So I think I just feel a sense of community, a sense of connection. And I think that's the whole point of this. And hopefully everyone else also feels that. So, and thank you for coming on here and presenting that. I think this was a nice laid back, informative stream, and learned a lot about love. Right. So,
well, I'm sure there's plenty more to come, because I can't get away from it, you know. I'm conditioned to see it now. But, you know, like the saying goes, you know, your reality manifests in what you focus on. And I think the truth is that most people are focusing their attention on things that they shouldn't be. And that's why it's so difficult for them to digest this type of information. And just label it a certain way, because they're conditioned to focus on other things, you know? So.
Yeah, it's just how we're raised. And, you know, once you get that change in you, though, where you wake up and you really want to understand more about life and just yourself and God and all that, you just really, it just naturally comes, it changes what you want. Right.
Right.
So, and I think that for me, I've always kind of been a bit more like, I was lucky to grow up with a mom that was already kind of on the scene of there's something more going on in the world. Of course, she was mainly just about there's this dark Illuminati, they're doing something, right? And I kind of always just laughed at her. And Mom, I was like, Mom, let me just do my music and just, the Illuminati's there. But I always knew it was true. You know, I never really like made fun of her, and I didn't like say it's not true. I just said, you know, I was still in my music time at that point. I was a musician and I was trying to do my music. So yeah, I think it's really amazing to grow and learn, and just to see what we can continue to do. So,
but it's important to still be into those types of things too. I mean, music is incredible. But like, when you also realize how powerful frequencies are, right? You know, like, no gematria needed, but you look at the music, not even just today, right? There's that ongoing joke, as we get older, the new music is just like garbage, but our parents felt that same way about our music. But my point is that music is very powerful, just like words and letters are powerful, right? Just think about, nobody, including you and me right now, could ever exchange ideas without these exact words and letters that are coming out of our mouth. that were given to us. Right? I think that's what latched me onto all this, was that we were given these letters and numbers, and sure, they can tell us a little bit about why it is, but it just kind of ends there. People don't ask questions about any of that. And then they're going to use those same words to tell me or you or anybody in our community that, we're psycho or whatever. It's like, how hypocritical is that? We're just using a critical mind, and applying it to what the world is giving us every day. So,
yeah, we're just looking at the beauty, because ultimately, even if there's evil being portrayed in it, it's ultimately under the control of the Creator, and the Creator is love, as the Bible says, God is love, right? So,
right, exactly. Very well said.
The question is, how do you look at it? Do you look at it from the eyes of Christ, the new eyes that you should be looking at it, which is through the eyes of love, or are you looking at it through the eyes of fear and hate? I guess I think the Bible says that too. There's no fear in love, right? So you either love or you have a bit of fear. If you have a bit of fear, you might not be seeing it clearly.
If you have fear, you're living in evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah. And so again, what I do on this channel is never to promote fear, even though sometimes I may seem like that, but we're just decoding events and saying what might happen and what did happen. But it's really just about spreading awareness. And to me, I don't ever really get afraid of what's coming, because I know that whatever God's got planned, whatever is meant to happen, is going to happen. And I'm just along for the ride, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm called to do to do it. And everyone else should be too. So
exactly. And at the end of the day, I'm so thankful for this new path, despite, the sacrifices that kind of come with it. Right. I'm sure you've lost some people that you grew up with along the way or whatever, because it's not for everybody, because everybody has to make that decision to use their discernment and lean into this information. Don't have to agree with everything. But for me, like watching Reign Over Me, it's a great movie. But like, it's even more fascinating when you're able to watch these kinds of things with the lens that we have. It's just mind blowing. Even that flood movie from 1993, watching it just blew my mind. If I didn't have any of this other insight, I would have watched it and been like, okay, yeah, this is sad and all that, but old movie, kind of slow. But when you're looking at everything that's going into it, it's just incredible. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and life is more, to me, because I see it from a place of curiosity and excitement and just the love, and to see what I can find. Life, since I started doing this, life is more exciting and more, it's like a kid. It's like being a kid again. I know that the world is more than what it used to be to me. And when I was and there's nothing wrong with what it used to be either, because at that time I was doing music, and that was also exciting. And that was also like being a kid again. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all finding the things that we want to, the art that we want to, and in gematria and this stuff, it really is also an art. I mean, it's not always because there's so many patterns always running through this reality, that it's really an art to be able to see specific patterns, like what you do with the love. So that's an art, and how you're able to bring that together. And each person is also doing their own parts of these riddles, because again, I tell people this all the time, but people think there's one riddle running through all these stories. No, there's thousands of things running. Right. And that just shows you it's not just the people doing it. It's that there's people doing stuff, yes, but there's parts that they're not doing, whether it's dark magic or whether it's God's. And again, they can only replicate the original creation. So nothing is truly evil. It's all the intention behind what's being done. Exactly. The evil the evil that's being perpetuated from the original creation. So that would be what I would say, is that the matrix itself, the numbers, are not truly evil in themselves, and they're not bad at all. In fact, they give you more clarity, but people think it's evil because the people that are seemingly using these numbers, they seem to be evil and seem to be using it for nefarious things. So
No, exactly. I think that's very well said, because I've had people ask me, so what are the evil numbers? What are the evil numbers I need to look out for? And I say that exact same thing. I say, I'm at a point now where I've realized that there is no evil or good number. Every number is as good as it is bad. It's all about how it's being used, like 666. That's the most classic one, right?
Yeah.
We Jesus came into human form. We all came into human form. Just
Well,
look
I
at the
mentioned that
666
yesterday.
alignments of what we're made out of, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. It's like, so does that make all of us evil then? I don't think so. Even though, like,
Well, I
us
mean,
as human
like
beings,
you
we're
said,
aligned to
even
that number.
Jesus had to take the form of and the 666 really goes back to carbon. I always say this.
Yeah,
Carbon, which what we're made out of, is 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. That's the man, the number of a man, or the
exactly.
fleshly body, which Jesus had to take on as well. But if you're living your body, it can be a beautiful thing if it's in line with the spirit.
Right.
So it's about bringing balance, and what Jesus did, essentially. That's the story, sacrificing the body and for the higher purpose. Doesn't mean the body necessarily dies. That was a symbolic sacrifice for the rest of us to give up the need for always gratifying the body. But when you gratify the spirit and you live in the spirit, essentially, your body is automatically gratified. Like,
Right.
you need less. Like in the Bible, it says that they lived off of manna from heaven. Like, it was like a spiritual food that they didn't even need to eat all the time, because they had this spiritual manna being fed to them from heaven. And that's kind of another way you could say that. But I don't know. There's different ways to look at it. But
100%.
But yeah, I think I just appreciate you, man. I appreciate everyone in here, and I guess we'll start wrapping it up soon. I gotta get some food. I didn't even eat before this, so
Yeah, I think it's about that time.
yeah.
I'll just close by thanking you once again, Cody. It's always a pleasure to just be connected with you. To have your Discord and us to be able to always exchange ideas is a huge blessing. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of, the Me and Rambo team weekly. There's always more to share. And it's like the one thing I look forward to the most each week. I think this is great what we're doing as far as jumping onto each other's platforms and finding ways to continue to get the word out and continue to help everybody grow together. Because that's the only way that all of us continue to grow, not just from a followers, subscribers perspective, but to grow like knowledge wise, right? Because I'm not going to be able to see everything. Neither are you. Neither is Rambo. So like when we're able to come together and kind of dump everything onto the front of the table in line with everything that we're all looking into separately, it creates a beautiful code, a beautiful alignment, etc. So I just want to thank you, Cody, first and foremost. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night, and then I'll see you again Thursday. And then I just want to extend a huge thank you to everybody in the chat, just for the contributions, for the love and the support. Honestly, it's what keeps me going, because I'm sure you can attest to this, Cody. Sometimes there's some dark days. There's some tough days, man, in doing this, where maybe you question why you're doing it. I'll tell you, at least that's where I come from. But it's experiences like this where I'm reminded every day that, I'm in good company. So
Absolutely.
And today is a Monday. Shout out Sojourn 137. Today is a Monday. The moon controls the tides, water, right in line with everything we were just talking about. I didn't even think about that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Make sure you guys go subscribe to Ball Don't Lie. I just had his page up here, and now I got Joseph's page up. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Joseph as well. And The Illusion, another channel, to make sure you guys check out.
Yeah, I've been talking with Adam, by the way. I don't know if I told you, but I would love to have him on as kind of like a guest for our weekly show one of these weeks.
Absolutely.
If you're down for that. We could always do a separate one for sure. But I know that Adam would love to talk to Rambo, and, there's plenty to talk about. I love Adam's stuff on the soccer stuff, because I don't know anything about it really.
Yeah, he has that. He has that soccer stuff down.
For
That's
sure.
his niche, and he's
For
good at
sure.
wrestling too. Me and him really vibe with wrestling. So, um, but yeah, I mean, definitely love to have him on. And don't forget to go subscribe to this is another channel I want to bring up. He just released another video today. He did a really good video. 7-1. Sean always talks about 7-1, but another channel that's worth going subscribing to. Don't forget Gematinator. I'm just going through these people here because I want to just continue to
Sure.
support the community. Gematinator 85. That's our thanks to him. We have this beautiful calculator. So make sure you guys go subscribe to him. Decoding Our Reality, a smaller channel that I really want to give a shout out to. He did an amazing video. I'm going to shout him out in my video tomorrow that I'm going to do. But he did another amazing video. He's always dropping some great connections. So make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel as well. The guy I watch often is Truth Seeker. Watch him often as well. So you guys can subscribe to Truth Seeker. Zenith of the Alpha was in here earlier. Zenith of the Alpha America. I can't believe he still has 589 subs. He's been on 589 for so long. That's my number at the end of my channel. But yeah, so Zenith of the Alpha. Also, Dr. Savage. Another guy I want to have on the channel here soon. And another guy that's been just saying that why is he getting overlooked? And I think that's true. I think he needs to. I don't know why I've never gotten him on a stream, but definitely going to get him on a stream very soon. Another channel that hasn't posted in a while is Lambda 115.
I remember Lambda, yeah.
And he hasn't posted in a while, but hopefully soon he will post again. He's amazing. He's probably one of my he probably is my favorite, to be honest. When what stuff he finds is just whew.
Next level.
Yeah, and then there's another channel about the Golden Gate Bridge. This is the one you should check out, AJ, with the basketball on the Golden Gate Bridge. This video right here, Kobe Bryant, King James, and the Golden Gate Bridge. I think you'd love that. And then the Pope Leo, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Michael Jordan. This is what I was telling you about. You might want to check him out. He's from Switzerland, but he actually shares a birthday with me. He's born on King James' birthday as well.
And what's that? Hold on. Maigu 196. Okay.
Yep. And I think I hit most people. Don't forget to check out Donut. We were on his channel last week, and hopefully we'll be collaborating with him again. Who else did I forget?
I'm sure there's more. I mean, it just goes to show how beautiful of a community that you're building, honestly. And, we can't do it by ourselves. So.
Yeah. And, I just like having a community and supporting each other. So I've always been that type of person. So that's it for me. It's so fun to work together and do things together and just have these times together. So being able to share all these people is, let's get AJ to 1,000 subs, guys, please. Let's get him to 1,000 subs, man. Let's get him to that big 1000.
That would be awesome. I appreciate the push. Hopefully it's only a matter of time. I think at the end of the day, keep your head down, keep working, keep looking, keep sharing.
The first 1,000 is the hardest, man. The first 1,000 is the hardest. And with what we're doing on that channel, I hope that we can get some growth. I think the first 1,000 was the hardest for me. So I think once we get hopefully there, we can start, it will grow, but it will come in time. And I'm surprised I even got where I am. I don't even know how it happened, to be honest. It just kind of happened.
It's because you do phenomenal work and you are a kind soul and you treat your followers very respectfully and you speak very candidly and very calmly. I know that this community can get a little rowdy sometimes. But at the end of the day, I tell myself, I signed up for this. I made the choice to want to know, just like Rambo, just like you. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be a smooth journey along the way. It's us against the world in a way, right? But
Yep, absolutely. All right, I think we'll hang it up. And to everyone who's in the chat, thank you so much for watching. And I plan on having a pretty interesting video out for you guys tomorrow. So stay tuned to that, and then keep up to date for tomorrow. That video will be released tomorrow before I go live with AJ and Rambo. So keep an eye for that video. Also tomorrow's live stream with AJ and Rambo on AJ's channel, and then Thursday. So busy week, but thank you all for joining in, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Much love.
We will see you guys soon. Love always.